So how do you know you have a bend in your blade? Well, you can look at it, you can hold it up and just basically eyeball it, go from your handle and see if the tip is aligned. That's one way to do it. It's not very accurate because there's a lot of obstruction in the way. The easiest way I have found to do this is by going to a flat surface of the table. And so all you have to do is go to the edge of the table and you place your blade with the handle off of the table. And you basically place your blade down. You lay it down on one side or the other and see which side is sticking up at the tip. So right now, this blade here, the tip is sticking up about 2 to 3 millimeters. And then when you flip it to the other side, you'll see that somewhere in the middle, just above the middle there, we have about a 2 millimeter lift or gap from the table. So the blade is bent towards the right. Now the cut resistant gloves are great because they will protect your hand from getting cut, not from getting poked. And the latex gloves will give you grip when you're working. So I normally, when I'm doing this off camera, I just have my bare hands because I'm used to it. I've been doing it for a long time. But for those who are new to this, definitely get yourself some protection with cut resistant gloves and latex gloves if you want extra grip. And another simple tip is to identify what area you need to correct. So I just take a Sharpie when I'm on the, in this case, when I'm on the right side of the knife, I'm looking for that area that's the highest gap from the table, and I mark that center point, which is the left side of this knife, right over here. You never want to push down on the blade because there are a few things. One, naturally, we're very strong when we're pushing away from us, right? And so when you push down on the handle or push down on the blade, you're exerting way more force needed than to fix a simple bend. What you want to do is to repair this is by lifting the handle or lifting the back of the knife. It's okay, so obviously if you want to, you can push if you want to, but I suggest never pushing into the blade because you're just going to exert way too much force. Just lift, gentle lifts would be the safest way to do this. In this repair, you do not want to grab the handle by itself and simply put your hand on that mark and lift. The reason being is that mark is further above the it's about an inch above the halfway point of the blade. If you were to hold your hand on that blue mark and lift with the handle, you could semi-correct that bend there, but then you'll possibly create another bend in the handle area, and this area is quite hard to repair as well. And you don't want to do that. So what you want to do is bring your grip as high as you can, that's comfortable. That's about 2 to maybe 3 inches below that marked region so that you can get as much of the blade focused in that area, or as much of the repair effort focused in the area, that region, than the rest of the blade, because you're really just trying to focus your repair in this section right over here. So I don't suggest you getting your whole hand on the profile of the blade. You want to just focus that repair effort on the spine because that's where the bulk of the thickness is. Take your palm, the area that you're going to be using, and put it right on the spine of the knife. What I'm doing here is I'm moving an inch above and below the blue mark in half-inch increments. So that way I'm getting a nice slow repair effort. If you bend the steel too quickly, there is a chance that you'll damage it. So then after that, you basically just want to remove your mat, go back on the table, and you want to flip the knife on both sides, again with the handle off the table. In terms of how much I'm lifting, I'm only lifting maybe a half an inch at a time or even a few millimeters. It's not a lot. You're really just taking these mini increments. And I find it to be the most effective when repairing a knife. Okay, so now we'll check again. So that is how you correct the bend of a blade. It's really simple, doesn't take a lot of effort. It just takes a little bit of time and, well, really just like 2 or 3 minutes, right? If that. So now that is for a bend in the middle, relatively in the middle of the knife. How about a bend that's closer to the tip? If you're repairing the top inch or first 2 inches of the knife, I still generally will leave about an inch exposed. So this is my point of view. That's how much of the blade is still exposed when it's on the table. That way, I don't risk accidentally bending that top inch of the blade. That's really hard to correct by hand. You'll need a hammer at that point. So that'd be for a separate video when I do get a knife that has a damage like that. The grip is important, but even more important is actually the placement of where the blade is. Now, you can leave the blade here if you want to. I don't recommend that. I actually recommend you bringing the blade closer to the edge of the table. Again, I'm not pushing down, so that's not going to damage the blade at all. Now, the reason why I suggest you moving towards the edge of the table is not so you can push down at all, okay? So you don't want to do that. Again, we're still using the lift method here, not pushing. It allows my right hand to get the best grip possible, and also it allows my left hand to really just hold and pin the knife down where my arm is straight closest to my body. If your blade is further out this way, you kind of don't have that same leverage, and so it's just not as safe to control the knife that way. So I suggest you bringing the knife to the edge of the table and getting a nice firm hold on the blade with your left hand or your non-dominant hand, and moving your grip as high as you can with your holding hand. And again, we're lifting and we're just moving in half an inch increments from the edge. Okay, tiny little lifts, nothing more than that. And let's check your blade. Looks good on both sides. Okay, so right now the blade looks great. It's straight, but how do you know if it's straight on the handle? This little cut test or alignment test I'm going to show you will pretty much guarantee you 100% of the time if you have a symmetrical handle, whether a Western handle or a wah handle. Okay, so this is what we're going to do. So I have this little foam pad here. So you can use a cardboard, you can use whatever you want. All you have to do is take your knife, put it on the table, and you hold the handle. Okay, so you pin your handle flush on the table, and you put a little mark on whatever you're cutting with, a cardboard, piece of paper, whatever it is, or you just poke it, right? It's not scientific. And then you flip the blade, and you go over the same exact spot. And if the tip of the blade is going into the exact same area, you know you have a perfectly aligned knife. So very simple trick there. You can use cardboard, anything you want, but that's how I check my alignment of all my knives, especially a knife that has been either rehandled or repaired in some fashion or form. It's a really simple repair. You don't have to send your knife into anybody to a repair shop that may charge you $20 or $30 just for a minute or 2 minutes of work. You can do it all on your own. I just find that it's easier to repair a knife on a surface that has good grip, that has a little bit of give versus a hard table. That's just me though. You can definitely use your cutting board as your repair surface. You can even use a regular table. Whatever you want to do, whatever you're comfortable with is fine. And then if you are, again, apprehensive about putting your hand on the blade, get a set of cut resistant gloves and a set of latex gloves for grip. That will be the safest option. And yeah, and really just remember, don't push down, never push down. I usually don't use that word on my channel, is never. But in this case, never push down, because you will push too hard accidentally. Using small incremental pulls and lifts is gonna make your knife a lot easier to manage in the repair process than if you accidentally pushing it down onto a hard surface, creating a crease. There's no going back from that. If you guys didn't know this, my sensei, my katana polishing sensei, committed suicide a few months ago, and it's really thrown me off track. I don't have my sensei to give me the hands-on instructions anymore, but I still have the materials here, so I can still learn from reading the materials. And so do you guys want to see me do a lot more videos like that, where I literally would just teach myself to sharpen and polish a katana in real time on camera, just like how perfection was back when I first started? If you guys want to see a whole series like that, I can dedicate 1 or 2 videos a month to that katana polishing topic. That's going to be something I'll be doing for like meditative purposes, but whether or not I post videos about that, I don't really know yet. So here's my question to you. By you guys answering this question, it'll help me make more focused content for the rest of the year and for next year as well. Do you want to see more repair tutorials like this video here, or do you want to see more restoration videos of 30, 40-year-old sushi knives, chef knives, etc.? Or do you want to see more whetstone and knife reviews? All right, well, that will be it for this video. Thank you for being here. Thumbs up if you enjoyed it. Subscribe if you want to see more, and I'll catch you in the next video.